Archipelago.
Sabaody.
Sabaody Archipelago.
Sabaody Archipelago.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Volume 1, the anime and manga podcast where we highlight and discuss new series each week. But today we're back with more One Piece, aka more Done Piece, which means that my name is Josh Michaels. And today I am joined by
Mehgan, burst your bubble, Perrine.
Woo! Thank you guys for tuning into another episode of our Done Piece series. Today we are tackling Sabaody Archipelago. I practiced like 20 times. I'm keeping that in. I'm keeping it in.
Sabaody.
I mean, we looked up like other YouTube videos.
Crazy.
Trying to figure out. And then I cracked under pressure. Archipelago. This is going to be chapters 490 through 513. What an incredible arc coming off of Thriller Bark. I mean, this arc was filled of hopelessness, despair. I mean, it was like we had things introduced into this world. Like systematic oppression, classism, racism, what? In one piece?
Slavery, human trafficking, actual suicide. The list goes on, and this is the most scared I felt for the Straw Hats. Like, I felt their level of being terrified. I felt Luffy, like, you know, I mean, we talk about it in One Piece all the time, you know, these fake out stuff, but this kind of felt like I felt Luffy's emotions, like, straight up, because it was just like another reminder of like, damn, I need to get better. I need to be stronger.
I'm still not strong enough. And I felt this more than I felt his despair and his hopelessness in this arc more than ever before.
Ever before, yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this arc is switching gears again and is becoming so much more real, and the Straw Hats are playing on hard mode. I mean, this is really all of them realizing that they're not strong enough. I mean, they freaking get Thanos snapped basically at the end of this arc.
They really do. It is like Infinity War.
I swear to Pastalucci, I thought I was watching the end of Infinity War when I was reading this, or Endgame. I was just like, what?
What'd you do?
Someone needs to go into the anime if they haven't already. I'm sure they probably have, and just in that scene in the anime, just put
it's like Kuma, and he's like, "Fine, I'll do it myself." And he does like the paw.
And Kuma's big, like a Thanos kind of guy too.
Kuma, you know? Like, I'm so confused about the sizes of characters. I'm Kuma fused, and I don't know where to go because he's like one size somewhere else, but then we get why he maybe changes sizes. I feel like he's different.
I feel like I definitely still don't know everything, but I feel like I'm starting to really understand a lot more about him and kind of what he is, and kind of, although there is intention, that's still a mystery. What is, like, whose side is he really on? You know, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we also got to meet new characters, a slew of new characters.
Yeah.
We also got lore, which I love, and we got a lot of it, and we got some pretty, like, at this point in the series, I know that currently, as of this recording, there are other things happening way ahead of us that are series defining things, but this feels like it is like series defining. It's like contextualizing certain things about, you know, Roger for sure. And we're getting to meet other people that were a part of his crew. I mean, it's
well,
insane.
We were told that like Thriller Bark is definitely kind of not relevant for a while in One Piece until these latest like volumes that have been coming out. So that's really interesting. I know this part of the like lore that we're given is going to be relevant throughout, but just to know that like Thriller Bark, you know,
I don't know if
some
they were
things
saying,
that
or maybe they were saying specifically Thriller Bark.
Yeah, like some stuff that happens. I think even Murphy said that too. Like stuff that happens in that arc is relevant now, and that's just like what crazy.
Yeah, man. I mean, I believe it. I believe it. Yeah.
And I know we're so close to something else happening, and I'm not ready.
Yeah, I'm not ready either.
I'm not ready.
Before we go, you know, any longer and give any more of our thoughts, and then before we also go into our beat by beat discussion of this crazy arc, it is time to get to our highlighted comment of the day. This is a comment that comes from Monkey D. Luffy. Shout out Monkey D. Luffy, a Patreon member. The Monkey D. Luffy, a Patreon member. This comes from the Patreon upload of the Murphy collab that we recently did. And Monkey D. Luffy's comment is, this episode was epic. Murphy, intermission, cosplay, Mehgan's puns. You guys have come so far from when only one of you used to read the volume. And you were good then too. For a future collab, she's reading Hunter x Hunter now, so maybe some type of discussion around that, question mark? I mean, yeah, shout out to Murphy again. Shout out to you guys again. I mean, everybody was so that, you know, the response to that video was overwhelming and was great and was amazing. And yeah, we might pester Murphy about a Hunter x Hunter collab too. And we definitely want to have her back on more One Piece videos. And she even herself said that it's something that she would be open to. So,
yeah, that'd be so much fun.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Monkey D. Luffy. Thank you for your comment. You can get, you know, your comment featured in another highlighted comment section at the beginning of the episode by commenting on this video or any of our previous videos. Mm-hmm. We don't do the Warner Circle on these episodes, so this is just a nice way to include your comments.
Yeah, it'd be like a 3-hour episode.
Yeah.
But you can comment on any one of our other videos and get a chance to be in our Warner Circle on a regular Volume 1 episode.
Yeah. Mehgan, tell me some other feelings you had reading this arc. Like, this was a roller coaster. It started off, you know, sort of similar to how, you know, when you're thrust into the world of Water 7, you're getting to know its technologies, its transportation systems. It's like, you know, all these things that make this town unique. And this felt similar with Sabaody Archipelago. You know, you're kind of seeing all the kooky, wacky side of it. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, things get crazy.
Yeah, the way the arc started with that hilarious bit, like the Sanji bit, that character, so funny. I was like, okay, I'm getting the feel for this arc. It's going to be kind of like this. They're going to get, you know, they're going to head to the next island that they're going to. They have to make a pit stop. Great. Awesome. And then it just, like you said, left field. Like, oh, we're doing this?
Yeah.
And yeah, it just set the tone for everything else that happened. And everything did feel like very much real. And it was intense.
Yeah, I know that there's a lot of characters that are first introduced here that are going to go on to become, because of just the sense you get from the moment they come on page, but also just because of seeing figures and merch of them. But there are characters introduced here, one of which I think is, you know, in the running for one of my new favorite characters of all time. And I am, of course, talking about Law himself. And I'm a little salty right now because, you know, I tried to order a Law hat on Amazon and it did not arrive in time.
Murphy's Law.
Murphy's Law. Wow. We should have, man, what a missed opportunity. We'll email her. We'll hit her back up.
Yeah, he's a bad boy.
He's a bad boy, dude. And I'm gonna splice some freaking footage of me in the hat, dude, right now, dude. You're probably looking at me right now, rocking the hat. I'm probably even freaking blowing bubbles in the video.
You had to. Are you like in cosplay or just the hat?
No, I'm just in the hat. I don't want to put on full. Don't give me too many things to do later. Like I'm already
it's
blowing
just like
bubbles.
it
like
goes,
what do you want me to do?
It goes with the territory. Like you want to do your best for the podcast. Like I would
well,
maybe,
okay, fine. Then I'll put in the video. I'll put the Law hat on. I'll put the Ace hat on. I'll put the Luffy hat on. I'll put the Chopper hat. I'll stack them up like that little children's book with a guy with all the little hats on his head. You know. Anyway,
I didn't say you'd have to go that far, yeah. But you know, to each his own.
A bad boy. He's
a bad boy.
How do you feel about Law? You like him or what?
Yeah,
you like him.
I like him. I mean, I don't know. We got to see that. That's the thing with these like two new characters. We did get to see them later on in that fight, which was awesome.
One of the coolest panels. Dude.
One of the coolest, I think, honestly, fights that we've had so far. It wasn't even necessarily a fight. It was literally 3 against a bunch, and they kicked all of their asses. It wasn't even, I wouldn't classify that as a fight. It was just showing off their skills, to be honest. Yeah. And it was so cool to see 3 Devil Fruit users like work together. I mean, we've seen Luffy, Robin, Chopper. We've seen that. But to see these, you know, captains of crew, all going for the same thing, wanting to accomplish the same thing, all standing there and fighting, alongside each other just for that moment. Because later on, like they do say, next time we meet, we're not going to be friends.
Yeah.
We're going to be enemies. And that was just such a cool moment.
I do think it's also cool. I mean, Eustace Kid seems to have, different ideals from the Straw Hats. The Straw Hats, I think, so far, I do feel like they are, very unique in their ideals. But
they're like the nicest pirates.
But I do feel like Law is like, from the vibe that I got from him meeting him initially, I feel like he's maybe the closest to like their vibe, matching their energy. You know what I mean?
Straw Hats?
Yeah.
Well, he has an animal on the team, so.
Yeah, but he's also, I don't know, something about him. Something about him, I just feel like he could, in a different world, maybe if they would have taken a different route, I'm just saying, maybe Law, No,
Laws wants to be, he wants to be captain. He wouldn't have had none of that with Luffy. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think it's cool too that a lot of them, like, they're all not exactly like Luffy in the sense that they don't run from danger. They might not actively go out of their way to look for it or cause it, but when it pops off, they are so excited. They're ready.
They were so ready for Luffy to do all that shit.
Yeah.
And immediately when we're told, okay, don't do this, when anyone says to Luffy, don't do this, he's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Inevitably it's gonna happen because Luffy doesn't operate on like, it's either like black or white, like it's bad or good in his eyes. So he goes after bad.
Too.
No,
Yeah.
they do. So they're like, even when he does something he's not supposed to, or they're told, they stand by him, they have his back, and they roll with the punches. This is their captain. They have to.
It's gotten to a point where now I think they count on it and they love that about him. I think earlier on they might have seen it as an annoying quality, but now they're like, this is our captain.
Well,
this is why,
because
we fight for him.
They've gone through so much. I mean, to this point, this obviously was, I think, the most, emotional, kind of damaging to where they are now when they think or thought that they were so strong to this point, and then they meet someone again that kind of puts them down a pedestal and has them work harder. Even Zoro in that panel where he's like lifting weights with his legs and I'm not strong enough yet, and lo and behold he wasn't. So it's just this arc like really ended on the craziest cliffhanger I've ever felt in One Piece ever. We come from Thriller Bark to this, and I understand people are like, it's sandwiched in between these two crazy arcs, which I totally get, but I needed Thriller Bark before I got this.
Yeah, Thriller Bark was a
necessity,
really enjoyable experience, but this was another level.
Yeah.
This was a completely different ball game. We're playing a different game with different balls in this,
Yeah. It's like we were playing like baseball, and I'm playing like dodgeball because we were like trying to dodge.
Kuma's we're trying to dodge his paw. He's like
his paw.
He's like, he's not sending me on vacation. Huh.
I can tell you that. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Get your paws off me.
Get your paws off me and back up.
Yeah, back up, dude.
Back
up. Okay. All right. I'm excited and I have pages. Okay. So people like a long episode. This might be a long episode. We're going to try to get through it as fast as we can, but we also want to give, the appropriate amount of time to moments that were worth it and worthy of it to us. And I'm sure still there might even be things that we accidentally or inevitably, gloss over or skip, but it's just because so much happens here. And I wrote down as many notes as I possibly could. So let's start going through it. Just like I was going through it reading this. So it starts, and it's so crazy every time I go back, right? And so, just a real quick peek behind the curtain. Obviously, the order of operations is you read the arc. For me personally, I read the arc. I just like to feel it. I just like to experience it, and I don't like anything to like really take me out of just the experience, right? So then I'll go back after I've completed it, and then I'll kind of take notes after the fact, right? I have never felt such a jarring, like I always go back and I'm like, oh damn, I forgot they were all the way back here at the beginning of this arc, but going back this time felt like, wow, like I I feel like this happened, ages ago because of just how many things have happened. But where we left off was that the Straw Hats are literally saying goodbye. They're waving goodbye to everybody on Thriller Bark. There's a really interesting, quick kind of panel that's a little kind of ominous. Where
that giant ting.
Yeah, well, did we even get to see it? I don't even think we got to see it.
No, we see a shadow, but we know that it's giant.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And who knows what happened to Lola? Lola. There's a song.
Lola.
Is it Lola?
La 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 Lola.
No, what's the other one? Like, Layla.
What is Layla?
Got me on my knees, Layla. I think so. Begging, darling, please. I think so.
Lola.
I think it's like Eric Clapton
Lola.
or something.
Oh, well, yeah, she might be dead.
Yeah, she might R.I.P. I mean, who knows? So after that, it cuts to Garp. We see Garp and Sengoku, who are kind of reprimanding Kuma a little bit. And there, obviously, this is taking place in the sacred land of Marizhao, I think is how it's pronounced.
Did you write it down? Marijo.
Marizhao is how I'm gonna choose to say it right here. But
Marijo is mine.
And let us know in the comments. Just put Josh was right or Mehgan was right.
Yeah.
And don't lie, because if Megan's right, Megan's right. Okay.
Why would they lie?
I don't know. They wouldn't. They actually wouldn't. But yeah, there we find out more about this place and its significance and the people, the inhabitants of this place. But Garp and Sengoku specifically are kind of reprimanding Kuma for letting the Straw Hats go.
More so Sengoku. I mean, Garp is just kind of.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Sengoku mainly.
Yeah, Sengoku mainly. Garp is just kind of like joking around. Like, they would do that, huh?
Yeah.
He's just kind of letting them do their thing, which is kind of, I don't know, good or bad. I mean, he has to do his job, but that's his grandson, so he's kind of in a tough spot. But again, he was about to blow his head off at the other place, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I love Garp, dude, and I think Garp is just, Garp is just doing whatever. He's doing kind of whatever he has to do, but only if he really has to do it. And if not, I mean, he's been in the Navy long enough to really do whatever the hell he wants to do.
Oh, yeah.
And he's using his, what do you call it? Like his seniority to get away with, I mean, any and everything. I mean, but also it's just, that's his nature. I feel like.
What do teachers have when they stay at a place for
they
long?
Got tenure.
Tenure. Yeah, he has like Navy tenure.
Yeah.
He can't get fired.
You can't fire me.
Yeah, I'm Garp. Like, I'm going to throw a cannonball you.
Yeah.
You're going to die. Like, I kill all of you.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal for me. And they're like, yeah, no, we know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he'll serve you freaking cannonball soup, dude.
Cannonball soup.
Yeah.
With little mini cannonballs in there.
Well, I mean, they'd be big, or maybe they would be mini. He could just really,
because once you eat them, and then he'll be like.
I mean, that's a good point too. I mean, I don't know.
He'll throw a big cannonball at you, and then the other little cannonballs blow up in your stomach, and you're like, oh.
I mean, I don't need that, dude. My stomach already explodes when I eat certain freaking foods. Okay,
that's very true.
And that has nothing to do with Garp. Okay, that has something to do with my freaking bowels. But this is where we cut back to the Straw Hats again, and yeah, I think that whole kind of scene is just to show that they are aware of what happened on Thriller Bark and they're not happy about it. The Straw Hats end up coming around to the other side of the red line, right? And they're trying to figure out a way to Fishman Island. Now, at school, it gives you this little diagram, this world diagram of like the red line. And I don't know why, dude. I am terrible with directions, dude. I mean, if I was at sea, I mean, you could put me in a swimming pool, dude, and I would get lost. I would be like, well, I don't know where, I don't know where the shallow or the deep end is.
Where's land? Yeah.
So, I mean, it really did take that diagram for me to really understand. Like, I'm like, they're a red line. What do you mean halfway? I'm just like, I put GPS on to go get the mail. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Jesus.
Yeah. But yeah, so now it seems like they're at this like, halfway mark, which is really cool.
Yeah, Luffy has that line like, next time we're here,
it's over.
It's over. It's done.
Or is it?
Or is it just the beginning?
Yeah, I thought that this was because we hit a milestone kind of in this video too. We hit chapter 500. And I kind of thought that, maybe them reaching the red line again was signifying not only the middle of their journey, but the middle point of the series, but it's gone on far beyond, not far beyond, but it's gone on beyond, way beyond that. Anyway, that's when they're trying to figure out how to get to Fishman Island. They can't really figure out how to do it. The log pose is pointing down. It's like Sky Island all over again, but this time down.
Why would that shot fish? It's called Fishman Island. You'd think it'd be underwater.
I think it would be.
Yeah, so they're like,
I think it would be on land because it's an island. It's not called an island if it's underwater.
I mean, the place was called Skypiea, and they were like, and it couldn't be in the sky.
No, it was Sky. That was Skypiea. This isn't called freaking like underwater fish.
I would just assume that it would be. If it's pointed down, I'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense that it'd be underwater.
Look, Mehgan, everybody has a different role on the ship, and yours would be the role of like I'd be the dumb one, okay? I'd be the dumb one, and you'd be like the Nami or Robin.
About?
Because you would know that. You would know to look under the water, and I'd be freaking lost, Like, why isn't Google Maps working on the Grand Line right now?
Google Maps on the Grand Line.
Yeah.
Their new slogan.
Yeah. Freaking Google freaking wishes, dude.
Yeah, I would assume, but they gotta get there somehow. And there was like a cool kind of like, I don't know if it was here or what. Oh, they said like 30,000 was it like feet, I guess, to Skypiea?
Right, yeah, it's the same amount. It's like
same
the same
amount.
distance up and down.
And I was like,
that's deep.
Interesting.
That's deep.
That's deep.
That's freaking deep, dude.
Or
do some real damage.
High.
Yeah, or high. If you're going to Skypiea.
High or low.
But what's cool about this part is that we finally meet. They're come across a giant, sea monster. And they end up like hitting something out of the sea monster's stomach, and it is a mermaid whose name is Cammy. And Cammy is not alone. She's with her starfish companion, who's also like the designer for a clothing brand.
Hilarious.
Which is pretty awesome.
I liked him a lot. They were both really funny together. But he was cute. He made me laugh when he was on the ship with them. When he's like starting his song and no one listens and he's just all defeated. But she's offering them like takoyaki, like the fried octopus, and obviously they're like yes. And Sanji's like, "You're the love of my life. I never met a mermaid before."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You have."
Dude, that was such a funny joke.
A reoccurring hilarious joke, and I was like, "They're doing my girl Kokoro dirty."
Well, even when Zoro comes back and you can see his thought bubble, and you can see Kokoro like slowly fading from his mind.
Chopper's like, "You did me one!" Like, stop. Oh, what a hilarious bit. But yeah, they're really going through it right here too. They get a little bombarded, huh?
Well, this is the inciting incident. This is what kind of sets everything into motion. Because, Cammy ends up telling them that she's looking for her friend who was captured. And it's a friend by the name of like Hachin is what she calls him. And they all kind of say like, or I think Nami's the first one to say it, like, that sounds super familiar. Like, he's also a fishman, but it can't be. And, this was something that
Of course it was. Of course it is.
But this was something that again, is really, really cool because this is a character that was introduced so early on in the series that now
feels like forever.
It does feel like forever, but going back now, that's going to recontextualize how anybody sees this character if they go back and reread it. Like, Hachi's going to be a completely... Hachi is like friends with, Gold Roger's like first mate or whatever. That's, when you go back and read that, you're like, this guy's just, he's had a rough patch in his life right here. He's hanging out with the wrong crowd right here.
Yeah, he was. Arlong was definitely the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
He had to do what he had to do, and it wasn't good.
So they agree to, rescue him, even though the name sounds familiar, they're not really sure. They kind of get these flying fish riders kind of come in, see them. They're obviously flying fish riders. They're flying on fish, or they're riding fish in the sky.
And I didn't want to forget before we kind of like because we could have mentioned this later, but they did kind of talk about Ace's Vivier paper and how it was kind of crinkling.
Yeah.
And they noticed that, and then I think it was, who was it? I think it was like Nami was like, we can turn back around to where he's at. We don't have to go see
all of them.
All of them.
Like, yeah, we could go.
Yeah, and he's like, no, like he would just get mad at me if I went. Like Ace hates showing weakness and blah blah blah. And I was like, huh, that's definitely gonna.
And they also said that if you keep an eye
part.
on the paper, that when the person's health restores, the paper will restore itself too. So that's like an indicator of like, oh, we'll just keep an eye on this paper. And
yeah, but
it'll get better.
I don't know. Just the way it was said, I don't like that.
Ace will be fine. Anyway, yeah, so this is when we meet the Macro Gang and Duval, because the flying fish riders go back to Duval. And this is what I mean about the start of the arc feeling like, slightly formulaic in the case of One Piece. I mean, it feels One Piece formulaic, like it, and but that's not a bad thing at all, because this is just like I said, the inciting incident, the thing that really kicks everything into gear. But it's this whole thing about like, who is Duval? Who is this? Well, he keeps
saying that, I'm gonna get the man who ruined my life. I'm gonna get the man who ruined my life. So I'm trying to like piece all these things together, and like I knew it probably wasn't someone that was like a huge part in the story, but maybe like a back character that like, oh, you ruined my house when you were fighting.
I kind of thought that was gonna be the joke.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be something like that. Not what it was, which was great. It was hilarious, but it's because it has been an ongoing joke too. But yeah, it is just like we meet a character who needs help. Then we're gonna try to defeat their boss.
Yeah.
And save someone from being kidnapped, or just save them from their situation. Like that's the formula for sure.
We're gonna meet this new kind of big bad guy.
Yeah,
but I even got a sense as it started going on. I was like, this guy isn't an actual. Not that he's not an actual bad guy, but he's not I shouldn't be trying to picture or to figure out who this guy is, because this guy is going to be, like you said, he's going to be a background character. He's going to be someone that if you go back and you look in the panels in the background with
Panda Man.
Yeah, with Panda. It's going to be Panda Man.
Yeah, he's going to
be right next to freaking Panda Man with his heart nipples, And the reveal, the revelation of who he actually was equally, if not more, hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean the Straw Hats arrive. They show up and they recognize Hachi pretty quickly.
They're like, oh my god. Well, yeah. Luffy either like Luffy or Nami say like, if it's him, we're not gonna save him.
No, yeah, I mean Luffy says it. Luffy's like pretty upset when he first sees Hachi.
Well, I think they said it before.
Well, they didn't know until they got there.
Oh.
They had no idea until they got there. And then even when they saw him, he tried to cover himself in ink.
Yeah.
And disguise himself.
Yeah, that was funny.
And then they saw right through it immediately. And Luffy was like, I wouldn't have come at all if I knew it was you.
Yeah.
Like, we're leaving.
Yeah.
But Cammy's like, well, if you guys aren't going to help him, then I'm going to help him. And she jumps in the water. And this is so funny, dude, because everybody knows it's a trap. Even the Starfish, Cammy, Hachi, the Straw Hats, everybody knows it's a trap. But she's like, I don't care. And she jumps in the water. And it's like immediately when she jumps into the water, she jumps into the hands of the kidnappers.
No, like they say the line where like, they're like, they wouldn't do that. It's not a trap. And then Franky's like, that's why you keep getting kidnapped. Because she's been kidnapped and eaten. Like this has happened way too many times to you. Both her and the Starfish. Like so hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, it really was funny. Especially because later on we find out that they're the fastest swimmers or the fastest things in the sea.
If they weren't so ditzy, they would not get caught.
If they weren't so prone to being kidnapped.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, once they find that out, and then they don't want to save him, and then I think after Cammy gets kidnapped, Nami says, "Okay, well, we at least have to save Cammy."
Yeah, and she. Oh no, never mind.
And then I think like as more time goes on, because he's like Hachi's kind of like begging them to help Cammy, or he's just maybe showing that he is actually very concerned for this person. And so one of them ends up saying, you know what? I think it's Nami too. Like, you know what? We might as well save Hachi too, because it's like he's not really. I mean, he's kind of like innocent in all this too. Or like she basically makes the decision, like, and she should be the one to make the decision because of what what Arlong's gang put her through in her hometown. But I think hearing that from her made them say like, okay. And then Luffy turns, around with like the octopus fritters in his eyes, But yeah, this is where the Straw Hats, versus the flying fish gang happens. I mean, Hachi steps in, like we get to see Brook fighting some more. This was a huge epic sky battle. That was actually really fun.
Yeah, I really liked the moments. Obviously, like Luffy, they're all fighting them, and obviously Luffy is on this flying fish, and he ends up falling in the ocean with like Brook and Chopper, and they're like, "You idiots! Like, what are you doing?" And they're apologizing. Like Chopper's apologizing with like tears in his eyes. Like I've been loving just the Brook being in the team and being a part of the adventures now, because little things that we do get to see, like Frankie and Robin actually fighting together in Thriller Bark was such a treat. And the little moments with like Chopper and Brook, just he's such a great addition to the team.
He fits right in, and he adds something really special to the dynamic. It's like it's something that you never knew was missing. Like you always think that the Straw Hats feel so complete, but then this new member is introduced and becomes a part of the gang, and you're like, that's what it was missing, or that's a great addition to this already great cast of characters. But this is like an incredible kind of battle and fight, even though so many things are happening. Like we get to see one of Brook's new moves where he's like, putting people to sleep. Even the girls, Nami and Robin, have like a super, super badass moment. Like I could just freaking hear the music swelling. I mean, I just read this part. I didn't watch the anime, the episodes for this part, but I could just hear just like epic music and just like this like really badass moment, because the flying fishermen come down and they're like, oh, it's the girls. Like we feel bad.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, we feel bad that we have to do this to you, but you are part of this crew, so we can't just let you go. And they wreck them, dude. I mean, like,
of course.
Like, Robin just, does her thing, and then Nami freaking shoots one of them down. I mean, it was just the way that the paneling, the framing for that it was just so badass.
I mean, I think this was a fun. I don't think it was completely like necessary, but I think it was necessary to show like the contrast between people that are weak and people that are strong when they all go up as a team together.
And
versus
how important their team and their crew is together, and how well they work when they're together.
But versus
not
as strong of people versus like a lot of people and two and maybe three.
And I think your point is actually closer to, I think, the real reason why it's there is to make the strides, because they are strong. And it is kind of showing them at this point, especially after you've seen them go through, Annie's Lobby, and after you've seen them go even Thriller Bark, like now you think to yourself, like, well, and you see this and you're like, now these guys are unstoppable, unbeatable.
But no.
Yeah. One of my favorite highlights from this whole thing was just the Sunny cannon that was revealed. When its jaw kind of comes down, and Usopp gets in there like it's a freaking like the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, dude, and he's in there like shooting things down.
That's probably why.
Maybe shooting things down from the sky, dude. That was awesome.
Yeah,
that was.
We just
awesome.
keep getting like glimpses of like Frankie's hard work in this ship, and it's just chef's kiss.
I mean, this was a lot of fun. It was a lot of badass moments, but we find out that we find out who he's after, and he's after Sanji.
And this was like, before it was even revealed, he just goes, "You, Blackfoot Sanji." And he's like thinking of everything that happened in his past. He's like, what, who did I mean, I was a jerk at the restaurant, but I don't know anyone would like want to kill me this bad. And they're all kind of like, what did you do? Sanji, what did you do? And he's just like, oh my gosh, I don't know. And then it's revealed.
Yeah.
Takes off the mask.
That he is just a guy named Duval that looks exactly like the artist sketch on Sanji's bounty. The one that looks so
horrendous,
funny and horrendous and crazy looking. And when Sanji finds that out, because I think, Sanji was like, man, I was kind of rude. I did do kind of some kind of I did kind of treat people.
Yeah, he was like
You know,
trying to really like atone for his sins. He was like, I don't know what I did, but obviously I did something horrible enough for this guy to want to kill me and my whole crew.
And then he sees him and he's like, oh. Fuck you, dude.
He goes, bye, and he literally kicks him. He's like, you know how long I've been wanting to kill you because you ruined my life. I can't go anywhere because they think I'm one of you. They think I'm you, and why don't you just dye your hair or gain weight, or what did he say? He goes, change your clothes. I forgot what he said, but something to
cut
change
your hair.
Cut your hair, change your appearance, and he just like that panel. He's like.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you never thought of that?
Yeah.
So good. Such a great bit.
Yeah, it was so funny. Sanji ends up like kicking him and rearranging his bone structure, which I think he did on the train. Didn't he do something similar to the noodly guy who he was fighting on the train?
I think he kicked him hard and that happened.
And he became. Remember, I said he looked like a Zatch
No,
Bell
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if he did it to him or he did it to himself.
No, I'm pretty sure Sanji did it to him.
Sanji Dr. Miami out here.
For real. With his feet, dude. That man could get his own show anytime.
Well, yeah.
So, after that, we find out that he rearranged his bone structure and made Duval, like, handsome. Like, super handsome.
I wouldn't go super handsome.
I mean, he looks a little Farquaad-esque.
He looks better than he did, yeah.
Yeah, he does still look like, he doesn't look like someone you want to approach. Like, if you got set up on a blind date and this man was sitting at the table, you should probably leave. You know, you should probably tell the hostess, like, hey, like, don't tell him I was ever here. You know, because I don't want him seeing me get in my car and stuff like that.
And the hostess was like, I don't know who you are.
And you say like,
don't tell him.
Yeah, and you say
she's like, who are you talking about?
And you say to her like, no one asked you. You know, no one asked you, bitch. I'm just kidding. Don't say that. In this scenario, I'm a woman calling another woman that. I would never do that. As someone who used to work in the food industry, I would never treat someone who works in the food industry like that. I actually wouldn't. Okay.
I know you wouldn't unless they like gave you attitude or something.
Yeah, because it's a hard knock life in there, dude.
It really is. True that.
Yeah, true that. Freaking soup queen over here. Freaking soup plantation, working on soup plantations over here.
I hated that. Why would you bring that up? Anyway, we got this guy named Duval, and he's handsome now, I guess. And Sanji's Dr. Miami, and we're now all good.
We're all good. We're all friends. We're all back.
We're all back.
Eating octopus fritters, eating takoyaki. We're all happy-go-lucky, and he gives him his like snail transponder number, and he's like, "Call me whenever you." And
they're like, "No," and he's just obsessed with being handsome. So it's pretty funny, but I was like, "Is this? Let's."
Yeah, let's after the reveal and
after the reveal, it's funny. Okay, yeah, let's go to Sabaody.
Yeah, let's get
Archipelago.
Let's get to like Archipelago.
Acapella.
It's like acapella, yeah, Archipelago. Archipelago.
Sabaody.
Sabaody Archipelago.
Sabaody Archipelago.
All right, now you're just doing it on purpose.
No, that was like what I think it says. Or how it said.
We also find out that there's two ways of getting to the New World, and they can either go through the Sacred Land or they can go through Fishman Island. So they really have to go through Fishman Island to be able to even get into the New World, because no one's going to let pirates do the Sacred Land. It's just not going to happen. So the Straw Hats, with a little help from Hachi and I guess from Cammy and the Starfish, arrive at Archipelago. And that's where we see the Yarukiman mangroves and the resin bubbles. And this place, like this establishing shot of this place was so cool. Even getting to see these bubbles, which actually we have excreted from the tree, from the actual Yarukiman mangroves themselves. We have excreted and extracted actual actual resin.
They are very drippy.
Yeah. And because they're not as sturdy and as firm, because we aren't in the climate. We aren't in the same climate as Sabaody Archipelago. So they do tend to like pop pretty easily.
Yeah.
But this is, I assure you, the resin from those trees.
The resin.
You might think that they're bubbles, but They're not.
Don't even think that.
Yeah, don't ever doubt the lengths that we're willing to go for this show. So Hachi's like, okay, look, there's only one way you can get into Fishman Island, and that is if your boat is coated in this stuff, in this resin. And there's only one guy I know here that I trust, because it is a very delicate process, that if anything were to go wrong, then it would mean that you would get crushed by the pressure of the sea,
Oh, God. And the Straw Hats did try to go to Fishman Island in their little submarine, doohickey that Frankie made for them, which is pretty funny, because they were, like, Brooke is like, we're going to get crushed alive, and he's the dead one. I thought that was funny.
Brooke's jokes, dude, never get old.
No.
Never.
You would think.
Yeah, says the guy that just met him 20 chapters, 50 chapters ago.
They never get old.
They never get old, okay?
Never get old.
Yeah,
because I'm already dead. Yeah, he does do the yo ho ho. Damn it. He would have been perfect. Anyway.
But Hachi's like, okay, look, I'll help you. I'll take you. And he describes the landscape of the groves, and that, there are many groves within this archipelago. And
Troves of groves.
Droves of groves. Yeah. And, the some are like entertainment, some are, deeper in where crime happens. There's all kinds of different things at each grove. But he says, like, no matter what, when we go, I'll help you. But no matter what, do not defy the world nobles. Okay,
the celestial dragons.
Look, man, I know they're really bad people, dude, but they really nailed it in the name department. Okay, celestial dragons, dude. Like, if you're don't be anything like them. As a matter of fact, if you know anybody like them, report them.
It was real like Planet of the Apes vibes.
Planet of the Apes? In what way?
Where they're like taking like humans and like making them slaves. You never saw Planet of the Apes?
I saw.
You've never seen the original?
I mean, maybe I did see the original. I don't remember. I mean, obviously I know the reveal through cultural osmosis, the big twist.
Oh, yeah.
And then I saw all the ones with James Franco and
Not
Andy
the
Serkis.
Same.
And then I saw the one that was directed by Tim Burton, I believe it was. That one was, I think it was Mark Wahlberg was in that one.
Yeah, it just reminds me of that.
Oh, now who hasn't seen Planet of the Apes now?
Yeah, you're listing a lot of names. I'm just talking about one specific one that you cannot seem to remember.
Yeah, it was the one that the reference
if
was
you
from,
know, you know. It just kind of gave me those vibes of, having this hierarchy of people. Or human trafficking, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is a subject matter, and One Piece has always dealt with like very, heavy subjects and topics, but something about seeing these celestial dragons, the way they treat human beings and the fishmen is just, it's like, it's too close to home in the sense of like, it's too close to like, just what feels like things that, just this mistreatment of others, maybe not in our country on this extreme of a level, but it's still things that we as a society, like racism still exists. Like all these things still exist in our world. And I'm like,
I mean,
I don't know. It's freaking dumb and it sucks. Right. And I'll say it, dude. Racism sucks, dude. I'll be the one to say it.
You'll be the one to say it. I mean, our country, look at 60, 70 years ago.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Not a good place for everyone. So it was like, wow, this is pretty crazy, Oda. I would have to say this is probably the darkest I don't want to say ever gets, but I was a little shook that Oda would go here and make it this like intense.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I'm saying is I guess it would be, nice on one hand if we read these stories or could read these stories and go, wow, like imagine if people actually did that to each other. That'd be freaking crazy. Instead, we live in a world where it's like, people do this to each other.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what I mean. It's like too close to home. I just feel like there are things that, it's really holding up a mirror in a lot of ways.
No, that's
to
why
our history, our past as a human. That's
humanity. What One Piece does.
It does.
It's making you ask the big questions, making you, question your government and who's in
Which
power
I've been saying
and
since
history.
Day one, dude. I've been saying since day one. I've been saying that, dude. I've been saying it, and nobody at the time wanted to listen. But all of a sudden, Oda writes this freaking masterpiece.
At the time.
His magnum
How
opus,
old were
dude.
you?
I was probably like 16 years old. I think everybody goes through a heavy conspiracy theory phase at 16. Where they're talking about Bohemian Grove, you're talking about the Illuminati, you're talking about all that stuff. Dude, you're talking about the freaking Freemasons, you know what I'm saying? You're talking about, I know that the politicians are freaking lizard people. And I have proof because if you look at the back of a dollar bill and you fold it 3 times this way, then it actually looks like...
That's just a magic trick that you learned and were trying to spin.
I wish I learned it. I wish I invented it. I could go off on it forever. Yeah, it is. This is really crazy stuff. And One Piece is, like I said, always tackle these things, but it just does feel so just like at the forefront and in the most like in your face kind of way ever here. Everybody sets off, right? And they set off in groups like they normally and typically do. And Zoro sets off, and there's this great and funny bit about Zoro getting lost.
Yeah.
And what that would be.
Yeah.
And it's funny because even though, we know just like Luffy will do anything he's told not to do, Zoro is just as likely and just, you can count on him just as much to get freaking lost, dude.
No, every time.
I mean, that's what I've been saying, that me and Zoro have a lot in common.
Right.
You said that off mic the other day. You said, you know who you kind of remind me of? You kind of remind me of
It's
Zoro.
funny that you're putting words in my mouth on camera. It's funny that you would do that on camera because I never said that.
Maybe you did. Maybe you did. I
think you're confused. But yeah, Zoro got lost and he continues to do that. And he's always the first one to say, why do you guys always say, I'm not going to get lost. I know exactly how to get back. And even Sanji and Usopp are just accepting of it. They say, oh, I'm so sorry we doubted you. Go on ahead. And he goes, okay, I'll meet you back here at 1. And it's like 13 or at like Grove 13.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was one of my favorite jokes. Because it's such a simple joke that a bubble would be obscuring a sign, Like when you're in those big parking structures and you're like, where did I park?
Yeah.
But it's like, it's so funny, their reaction to it. They were all like, no, Zoro, don't do that. You're going to get lost.
Just stay with us.
He's just like, guys, it's numbers. I could do numbers. And they're
I'm not a baby.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, God, duh. Of course you could do, everybody could do numbers. And then that happened, which just made it so much funnier. One of my favorite bits, I would say.
Definitely.
So after that happens, they're kind of wandering around town. Luffy's group, which at this point consists of like Nami and Robin and Hachi and Cammy, and everybody's going around town. They're finding out about the Bon Cherry bubble bikes.
Yeah, I love that. I loved that moment. That was great. I mean, Chopper's like, let me buy one. And he goes, no, you don't need to buy one. You can't use it anywhere else. He goes, I still might buy one. Luffy's like, I still might buy one.
Yeah, Luffy's like, I'm still going to buy one.
Yeah. So cute. I mean, I love when they just have fun.
But this is where they see an escaped slave who has this like suicide squad collar around his neck. And we meet the Celestial Dragons, Saint Shalria and Saint Roswell.
And I have to say, as much as I don't like the Celestial Dragons, if I'm able to have a giant pug, I might join.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that we're necessarily very far off from that. I mean, I think, with the modern science that we have available at our disposal, we could probably sort of engineer and breed a giant pug.
Yeah.
Clifford the pug.
Yeah, he had like long legs. And he had a bubble helmet.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you did draw him here, but I'm surprised that you didn't it didn't take up like a whole page.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of running out of space on my notebook, so I couldn't. I took a lot of notes.
I mean, I never thought I'd see a pug in One Piece. Can you?
Me either. Well, there is a panel with I think it's Smoker or Crocodile. I think it might be Smoker. Like putting an umbrella over a pug. Like where is that?
That's one of the cover pages, or
I don't know.
Maybe we haven't got there yet.
It's not giving. It's literally he's holding an umbrella over a pug.
That pug could be a celestial dragon. It could represent the hole and the void in history.
You're right. You're right. Sorry, spoilers for a pug. Another one.
Yeah. But it's interesting here too because we're learning more about the celestial dragons and who they are, their descendants. So now through this line that I believe Hachi explains to them, through this line we're learning more about the history of the world and what has taken place over this 800 years. And the celestial dragons are the descendants of the 20 kings that created the world government 800 years ago. This is, again, giving us a lot more information. I had no idea that there were 20 kings before. No one said anything about kings, dude.
Yeah, I know. I was like, okay, kings. Interesting. Yeah. And dragons, once again, interesting. Because we did have Roma, the Slayer of Dragons.
Well, yeah, dude. And then someone's freaking devil fruit ability. Someone has a zone type devil fruit ability.
They have a T-Rex.
Yeah, there's freaking dinosaurs confirmed.
There's dinosaurs confirmed.
It's Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Thriller Park.
This is a Jurassic Ark right here.
That was better than mine.
I literally inaudibly out loud when I saw a dinosaur, I was like, what?
Yeah, same. I was like, ancient zone type?
Sick. Super rare. And that guy worked for like the Navy before too.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I loved all the new characters that were
introduced. We're about to get there.
I mean, let's get there. Shoot.
Okay, so Luffy and his group, they arrive at Shaki's Ripoff Bar. And they meet Shaku Yaku, I think is her name.
Shaku Yaku. She's sick.
She's sick.
She's sick. She's cool.
She's a baddie.
Yeah.
And they're looking for, I think, Rayleigh? How do you say his name?
Riley?
Is it Riley? Is that how you spell Riley? Because you might be right. I don't mean to be aggressive. I mean, sometimes
every time I've said a name today, you said, I don't know if that's how you say it.
Because I don't.
Rayleigh.
Okay, here's the thing.
Rayleigh.
Here's what we're going to do from now on. Okay?
Rayleigh.
You represent your translation because one of us is bound to be right?
Okay.
You got to think logically. If we both agree on a name and it's wrong,
okay.
Then
So what's your name?
Okay, I'll take the risk because you're probably right. It probably is Riley. But that doesn't sound like a really epic name.
No.
Like meet the first mate of Gold D. Roger, Riley. It might be.
Because he riles people up.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely kind of riled me up when he came. I got a little freaking grandpa boner. You know what I'm saying? Like,
ew.
Well, a boner for a grandpa. Sorry.
He's more like an uncle.
It's more like a gilf. Anyway, so I'll say. Can we just say like Ray?
Okay, it's either Riley.
Let's call him Ray.
Riley or Rayleigh.
Okay, Riley or Rayleigh. All right. And he's not there. All right. And
he's not.
He's off somewhere in another grove doing who knows what, paying off some gambling debts.
Paying off some gambling debts, maybe seeing his mistress. I mean, the possibilities are endless with this man.
Yeah. Shaku Yaku says like he's probably shacking up with some girl. He has been for like 6 months. That's no big deal.
Yeah.
She was a former pirate too. And at this point, we know that he was a former pirate, but we don't know who he was. Anyway, she warns Luffy about the other bounties, the other pirates with bounties there. And we get this cool freaking montage, this dinner scene with all these new characters. I mean, we got the fire tank pirates and we meet Capone gang, Bay gay. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. There's so much pronunciation.
Let me say,
it's Bege.
Gang Beggy.
But I think it's like maybe like a French word or something. That's what I'm saying. Like
Veggie.
Veggie. Well, we meet this Capone gang guy, right? We meet the Bonnie Pirates, Glutton Jewelry Bonnie.
I like her a lot. Mm-hmm. She's kind of like an unhinged, like she reminds me of Power, that scene where she's eating.
Yeah, because she's she's not living up to anybody's standards, or what they think a woman should be. She's being who she is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't give a fuck. She's like burping and like, scratching her stomach. Then we have the Hawkins Pirates with magician Basil Hawkins. And we have the Kid Pirates, Eustace, Captain Kidd. And then we have the On-Air Pirates, Roar of the Seas, Scratching a Poo. And then we have the Drake Pirates, Red Flag Drake. And then we have the Fallen Monk Pirates, Mad Monk Uroge. And then we have the Murder Machine Killer, who's from the Kid Pirates.
Oh, God.
And then we have the Heart Pirates and the Surgeon of Death, Trafalgar Law.
Now that's a pirate name.
That's a freaking pirate name. A freaking scratching a poo, and who's another one? Drake. What is this freaking views from the 6 over here?
Stupid.
That was the worst joke.
So bad.
That was literally the worst joke I could have ever made, and I do have to issue a formal apology to everybody watching, listening right now. I am better than that. Thank you guys for being here with me through this troubling time.
I choked on water. Cut. Before I die.
But
I'm so sorry, everyone.
That
joke made me choke.
The joke made you choke.
So bad.
Oh, because it was that bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, so all these characters, we get these introductions, these badass introductions of all these characters and all their designs. I mean, if anything, like the Capone guy was probably like my least favorite, and they kind of open on him too. So I was like, oh man. But everybody else looks so sick. And he did end up like winning me over when we found out like sort of what his ability could potentially be.
Yeah.
But all these people look awesome. All these people seem just cool as shit, badass.
Yeah, they better be.
Yeah.
They got to this point. That's what she was kind of saying. I mean, they're all on the same track, and they all were inevitably going to meet here.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty cool.
Heck yeah, man. And out of all of them, Kid and Law end up being my favorites. So then it comes back to the Straw Hats or Luffy's group, and they take a trip to the amusement park to look for Ray.
Yeah, they're like, I mean, I think they just wanted to go because I think Cammy said that she'd never been on a Ferris wheel and always wanted to be on a Ferris wheel. So Luffy just wants to make people's dreams come true, and he's like, let's go to the amusement park. And Chopper's like, oh hell yeah, and everyone is in astounding. That sounds good, Captain. We'll go there to look.
And wouldn't you know it, she up and gets kidnapped.
Of course.
But I don't think that happens until after we kind of cut back and we meet Saint Charlos, who rides into town literally on a human being, on a human slave, rides into town on this man's back. And he is, of course, just the snobbiest, freaking most entitled. Like, he's got that kind of freaking attitude, dude, that as soon as he comes on page, dude, you wanna, oh man, violence is never the answer, dude, but you want to just like freaking beat the shit out of him.
He's kind of like a spoiled, like, baby man.
Yeah. He's a baby man.
Yeah.
He's a freaking baby man. I hate him. But it's funny too, because when Zoro kind of is like wandering around, he kind of bumps into me as everybody else is panicking. Like, oh, Celestial Dragon. Like, dude, freaking everybody, don't be on your best behavior. Everybody bow down right now. There's this one doctor and he's like carrying a patient on a gurney. And he's like, why aren't you guys bowing down? And he's like, oh, this guy's dying. And he's like, I don't care. And he freaking kicks him off the gurney and he freaking starts shooting him.
Yeah, that was bad. I mean, it kind of just took a turn. Like, when you kind of saw how bad they were, I was expecting it to be more of a funny type of
hell no.
A banter between them and like the lower.
These are celestial demons.
Yeah, they're pretty horrible.
Why are you calling the freaking researchers of Ohara the scholars in charge of documenting the history of the world? Why are you calling them demons, government? I'm looking at you, government. Why are you calling them that? And you're calling these freaking things dragons?
Because it's corrupt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
they're
so
figureheads,
corrupt, dude, and it makes me mad, dude, because I know this shit happens in the real world too. I know it.
That's why it upsets you. It's because it's a mirror, like you said.
It's a mirror. And then shoots the guy on the gurney, and then looks at the nurse and is like, you're my new wife. You're my new 7th wife, and I'm getting bored of wives 2 and 6, so get rid of them. And then some guy's like, that's my girl. He's like, bam, 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 bam.
That's my fiance. Kills him dead in his tracks.
Yeah, and then Zoro's just freaking like licking ice cream or something, walking up the street, and goes to hit him, and that's when Bonnie kind of jumps in, and she's like, "What are you doing?" She like pretends that he like tripped or something,
and Zoro goes like, "Oh, like that was it's like, oh, what? Who is this kid?" And then realizes like, "Oh, you're not a kid," and then you kind of realize like what her, devil fruit ability is, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, her ability used on other people later on is really funny. Too.
Yeah.
I want to see more of all their abilities.
I know.
So then it kind of cuts away from them and back to the crew or Luffy's group telling Sanji that Cammy has been kidnapped. Sanji calls back the Flying Fish Riders. Now we know what their significance, their importance, their reason for freaking even being there in the first place was. Even though it was a lot of fun, they are here. They were there to be here now, you know? Which, you know, I liked that they came back and helped, and I liked them helping in that whole kind of dynamic that they had with everybody. There was a really funny joke in there too with Chopper and Brooke.
Yeah, I loved that.
That was so funny.
Brooke is just kind of chilling because they're told to just wait. They can't really do anything. And Chopper is just like, how can you be so relaxed? You're pouring tea, you're chilling out. Why are you doing this? And he's like, oh, we can't do anything anyway, so let's just chill. And then they come, and Chopper and Brooke are like laying back and just relaxing. And then Chopper's like crying. He's like, they got mad at us because he didn't want to seem like he was just neglecting his duties as a pirate. So I love how impressionable like Chopper is when the Straw Hats like tell him like this is the right thing to do, or like let's do this. Like he just agrees with them, and then like always sometimes ends up getting in trouble because it's not what he's supposed to be doing, or someone else calls him out for it. Like don't like it's like literally like siblings telling their little sibling what to do, and they do it, and they're like, you're not supposed to do that. He's like, but he did it.
Yeah.
He's
that
just
was
so
also
adorable.
It was such a small moment, but that was also one of my favorite
I
moments.
loved that.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
So then Robin and Nami are shopping, and Robin is explaining to Nami, you know, the persecution of the fishmen that they've experienced over, you know, these many years, and that something along the lines of, I think that the fishmen were discovered. And it wasn't until and when they were first discovered, they were treated as fish. They were just looked at, you know, despite their intelligence, their strength and everything, they were treated as fish. And it wasn't until about 200 years ago that the world government decided to make a law that would give them the same rights as like humans. However, a lot of people don't like that and still treat them like, you know, objects.
They're like, Oda, you're this is sounding a lot like something that's already
happened because,
in history.
Well, yeah, I mean, not even in our history. I mean, like, I feel like, unfortunately, slavery, I feel like it's so crazy that slavery throughout history,
it's universal,
has existed
unfortunately.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, everywhere. Like, yeah, America has, like, a really ugly history with it because of, like, how, you know,
recent
in the grand scope of things, like how recent we should have our shit together a long time, you know, ago. But everywhere throughout history, it's always existed or in some way, shape, or form, and that's just crazy. That's so crazy. Yeah. Anyway, so this is definitely some sort of like allegory for just, I mean, and this is what I love about what One Piece has felt like it's become. Like it's, you know, and Nolan kind of hinted at it, you know, in a previous episode, but I feel like I'm really starting to understand it. And not that I didn't understand it before, but I'm really starting to see it. And I'm really starting to see the weight that a lot of the things One Piece chooses to talk about, the weight that it can bring to these subjects. And it's just really, it's a really cool thing. After that, it cuts back to, I'm just going to call him Ray. I'm sorry, comments. I'm so sorry. Please maybe put a little freaking pronunciation thing with the little dashes in there or something so I can sound it out phonetically. But Ray is at the auction house and is revealed to be, and this happens in chapter 500, a monumental chapter. He's revealed to be the first mate of Gol D. Roger, which is incredible. And I think his name is... he has a dragon.
Dark King Silver's.
Oh, I thought
Rayleigh. Dark King.
The Dark King. Mm-hmm. What a cool, I mean, another cool name, dude. I mean, this guy. I mean, Sivers. He commands such a presence to the moment that you see him. He is something about him, and he's able to like immediately when Cammy first arrives at the auction house, he's able to cause Disco and these other people that are there to pass out from his hotkey. He must have incredibly strong hockey, and it's
Well, she mentions that the bar owner, she goes, "Oh, I wouldn't worry about it. He is like 10 times stronger than anyone else on this island. Like in insane strength. He had to have been to be Goldie Rogers' right-hand man. I mean, it's just crazy how much we learn about him and at the same time Goldie Roger in these couple of chapters. Like,
and it's about to pop off.
It is about to pop off, and this auction, it kind of reminded me a little bit of like Hunter.
When they're at the auction.
Yeah, I won't give anything away, but everyone's kind of meeting all at the one spot, and there's like things happening, and there's fights, and it kind of reminded me of that a little bit. I
kind of forgot about
I want to rewatch. Anyway, we won't go into that too much. But yeah, it was very, very satisfying to see Luffy. I mean, this is what I've always liked about Luffy. We're seeing it more and more and more. But yeah, we're right around here, right?
Well, I mean, before that, just to blow through some points really quick. It cuts back to Garp being informed that Ray is there, and he's like, keep it a secret. And do you want to fight two legends at once? There's that great bit where like Sanji is mad because Duval is so slow getting to the auction house, but then Duval is like, did you when they found out where Cammy was? Did you notice me change directions? I've been on track for the auction house since the moment we left. We're the first to arrive. And then like someone else is already there, and Sanji's like, you're not even first.
Yeah, I think it's like Chopper. They're like, thank you for the ride, and he's like, what the hell?
And then it cuts back to newspapers falling from the sky, an extra read all about it moment.
God.
And we find out that Ace is going to be publicly executed.
And this means war.
All that war.
Because Whitebeard is not going to stand for that shit. So it's going to be Whitebeard pirates versus the 7 warlords of the sea.
Yeah, which we hear Doflamingo say later. When you find out that the auction house belonged to Doflamingo. It was his auction house. And
then he just is like, you know what? I don't even want it anymore. It's not worth my time.
Well, he is, I think, I mean, I don't like his character. I don't like that he would have an auction house and sell, people. But he has a great character design, and he is like, when he comes on, the page, you can't help but like, want to know more about him. But he is, not just like, I don't want it anymore, but he is someone who is of this old way and was living and surviving in this old world. But he is also malleable and is someone who can see change and can meet change. So he's like, this shit ain't gonna fly anymore.
Yeah.
This shit doesn't matter anymore. It's that the new world, like, I just feel like there's so many times, like generationally, people can get hung up on the way the world worked when they were kids and not ever be accepting to the change that's happening constantly around them. But the people who can are the people who can thrive. And I feel like Doflamingo, that's what's gonna make him thrive, because he's like, nah, that's old shit. We're not on that shit no more.
Yeah.
We're on this shit that you don't even know about.
Still doesn't make him a good person.
No,
but
no.
yeah, he did run that for a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of where we see all of the pirates, all of the pirate and their crew like read this paper and know what it means. For everyone, for all the pirates, it's gonna be crazy. And this is where we get that moment, obviously, where we have Cammy in the fish tank. She's going, before that, there was a crazy moment of that like pirate just on stage, and he's about to get sold, and then he just like starts spitting up blood, and they're like, crazy. Oh my God. They're like, oh, what did he do? And then Zoro's like, yeah, he bit his own tongue to die.
Yeah.
It's like,
crazy.
What?
Crazy. Absolutely freaking crazy. Like, just like
that's when I was, I mean, even like the writing on the human thing, I was like, oh geez. But that moment,
yeah, I know the depths, the lengths that people are willing to go, and again, that you are seeing people at this just like point of disparity in One Piece, which up until this point, it's tackled these things, but in its own One Piece way. And here it's like, nah, dude, this is real life.
Yes, terrifying.
And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, Oda Sensei. I'm sorry.
Oda Sensei. I did like that part in the SBS where I think a person wrote to him and said, oh, this taxi driver gave me a One Piece poster, and told me to read One Piece. It was really cool. And he goes, oh yeah, that's probably my uncle. He said he'd promote my stuff, and my like publishers have told him to like ease up, but he just never did. I'm like, how freaking cute is that?
Forever the humble man.
I mean, he really is. But I just wanted to say that before I forgot.
But yeah, this is where that moment happens where we see Charlos again.
Yeah, Charlos. God, what a name.
And he is being crazy, dude. I mean, he out the Straw Hats were like, oh, we have enough money, we'll just bid on Cammy because
which was crazy.
Well, because we can't go in and rescue her because they have a freaking bomb attached to her neck.
I mean, Nami, that was crazy though. Like Nami was willing to give away the money. That was like crazy. She was like, oh yeah, we'll just bid, this amount and it should be fine. Like that was a crazy moment for Nami too, because she's so, everything is about money. For her to like genuinely want to give that money away to help someone. I was like, oh, Nami, okay.
Yeah. And they had this whole plan. He comes in there being the punk biatch that he is. And he bids like 500 million berries or whatever.
Straight up.
Doesn't even let the auction happen. Can't let anybody have any fun. And, Hachi and Cammy and everybody are freaking out. Cammy can't really hear anything that's going on.
Yeah, can't let anyone have any fun.
Well, I mean, like when you're at a party, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about
letting them bid on a human mermaid girl.
I'm talking about like at an actual auction. You know what I mean? Like, even if
I know what you meant. It was just funny in the context.
Even if I go to an actual auction and I know I got the money to outbuy I'm gonna let everybody bid. I'm gonna let everybody think they got it. Because that's part of the experience of a regular auction. Okay.
It was funny.
Anyway,
bidding and
he freaking shoots Hachi when he tries to come up there and rescue her.
He does. I mean, I think Hachi's the one trying to stop Luffy.
No,
or is it Hachi?
Yeah, maybe. I think so at first.
Yeah, because Luffy is just all of the pirates, the main captains are in the room, and Luffy isn't there yet, and they're like, oh, here's the rest of the crew, but I wish I could have met Luffy, the captain, which is like what is Kid saying. And then of course Luffy bursts in, has a grand entrance as always, and sees Cammy in the fish tank, literally doesn't listen to anyone and charges like immediately towards her, even though everyone's kind of saying like, don't do that because she might get blown the fuck up. Luffy,
well, he wasn't there for that conversation.
No, he wasn't there, and even when they were saying it, he couldn't hear because he was just focused on getting Cammy, and he's running after her, and then Hachi gets in the middle somehow, and Charlos, Jesus, ends up shooting him.
Yeah.
On the floor.
That was another insane, obviously, we talked about it before, and we've talked about how we're not going to be fooled by these fake out things. Like, even knowing at this point Oda's preference and how he typically handles death or the absence of death, even knowing that Hachi was probably going to end up surviving and be fine, that was still such a crazy moment.
I mean, it was so sad. It wasn't just getting shot. It was like literally everyone in the room telling this fishman, don't get too close. You're going to get a disease.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Like,
oh my God. Disgusting. They're all like treating him horrible. Like go back into hiding. Like this is what he has to deal with. And that's kind of why like the fishman and Arlong Park were kind of that way towards humans, because maybe they were always treated that way.
For sure.
That's why they had that prejudice. So like, we're going to stand up to these stupid idiots that always treated us badly, and had that like chip on their shoulder for so long, and it just ended up like that. But that's where I kind of see now people are like, Arlong, like they represent like the prejudice, and we didn't really get to see that too much in that part of One Piece, but now seeing this, it's totally apparent why they would have done that in the first place. Not just for power, not just for money, but like for the power, for like wanting to stand up to the humans.
Arlong was and his gang of pirates were a product of this bullshit society that the world government has built. Yeah, and that has always, because of like these systems that are in place, like always put them at a lower end of the totem pole, or always at a disadvantage, or always stack the deck against them. And it's like that was. Looking back at Arlong and Arlong Park, like, Arlong shouldn't have been doing those things to people, but people and the world government shouldn't have treated the fishmen the way they treated him. I mean, it does give
it's a cycle.
It gives a whole new sort of.
It really does,
perspective
and
on Arlong.
I was feeling that because I was reading comments about everything like up until this point, even in Arlong Park. I was kind of confused on why they were saying that because we hadn't really seen any like prejudice really towards these people, fish people at all until now.
And then we got all of it.
We got all of it and then some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this huge panel, beautiful moment. And like you said, we love Luffy for this. We stan Luffy for this shit, dude, because if there's ever a moment to fuck the rules, fuck the law, fuck the world, like do whatever you think is right and stand up for people, and you can count on this character to do it. There's never a better moment than right now in this, racist, entitled POS is, murdering or, hurting an innocent fish man. And, that's when Luffy and you knew it needed to be a full page so you could feel just like how like everybody, that shit could have taken up a whole volume. It could have been a whole separate volume of a manga and then you flip through it and it was like one of those little motion.
Yeah.
That's how awesome that was.
And it was, like I said before, they told him, don't stand up to the, dragons, celestial dragons. And I immediately knew when they said that, Luffy is not going to care because Luffy has never been one to, think or even like want to talk about these like hierarchies of society and, these people are above because they in society are known to be wealthy or whatever. He doesn't give a shit about any of that. He sees good and bad, and if it's good, then he wants to help out. If it's bad, he wants to stop it in its tracks, and he sees it and he sees all of it, and he can't just stand by and do nothing. And that's why I think, obviously the crew respect him. Even the other captains were like, hell yeah, this dude's awesome, because maybe they weren't necessarily going to do it, because I think even Kid says oh, these guys make us seem like babies. These people make us seem like babies because he just sees like pure evil. Like, they kind of dabble in, they said they might buy someone. They kind of dabble in bad things too, but, nothing like them. So for Luffy to do that, it was like, wow, this guy knows, and he walks the walk and he talks the talk. Like he goes for it.
Yeah, that's why I love him too. The auction house then erupts into chaos. The Straw Hats all take action. I think happily take action. They are proud to stand behind their captain and fight for what he stands for, because it is what they all stand for. And it's just protecting, people who cannot protect themselves.
Yes.
And
being good.
Yeah. And this is where, Ray, he shows up, and he just immediately knocks everybody out just with his hockey, like him just being in the room, like everybody else just freaking falls over, except obviously like Law, Kid, and the Straw Hats and their crews.
Yeah. Which was crazy. I mean, another line that I just wanted to write down, like, Oda, like this came crazy. I'm going to gut and stuff the women and starve the men while using them as slaves.
Oh, yeah.
Like, never would I have thought that would be a line in One Piece. Yeah. Ever. Like, what a crazy, crazy.
Are more real, like real life real than ever. In the kind of the worst way.
Yeah. I just, that was just insane.
Yeah.
I was shook.
Yeah. Then we get a little shot of someone by the name of Kizaru being dispatched.
Woo!
We will see more of him later. This is one of the coolest panels in One Piece for me. There's been a lot of, insane panels. It was CP9 versus Straw Hats. It was Robin, Let Me Live. It was even, the Soge King shooting down the flag of the world government. It was, Luffy standing on the tower, on the castle tower at Drum Island, representing pirates and, what being a pirate means and dreams, defending dreams. But then there's this, where these three Luffys, Luffy is, very different, in his ideals and, things. But I mean, just these three young,
captains,
new to the scene, you know what I mean? Like, bringers of the new age, are like the next generation are freaking coming out, like toe to toe, standing right next to each other. Like, just what a signal to the rest of the world, to the Navy. Like, this is the new shit right here. Out with the old, in with the new.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And we got glimpses of their, devil fruit abilities. We got to see Kid and his magnetism and, using all of these things.
It's like room, repelling.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I'm pretty sure, and again, this is my guess. it does look like magnetism and how you can like be, negative and you can repel things with that sort of force. And then you can like draw all these things in, and he built that like giant robot arm. And there's Luffy with this giant gear 2, or was it gear, this is 2 or 3 arm. And, Kid with his. And then Laws is like, he creates this like dome out of energy. And he's able to almost like, if you've seen Naruto, almost in like a kind of like a Sasuke kind of way, he's almost able to like, he has this ability to somewhat like Buggy in the chop fruit. He's able to like do that to other people, but then he's also able to switch places with the object. So like there's a cannonball that is coming towards him. He like chop fruits this guy and then just takes the cannonball and it's like, and like switches the guy's head way over there with the cannonball, and the cannonball with the guy's head right over there. I mean, it's awesome. So cool.
Yeah, I always love to see new devil fruit users, and especially that we're seeing like devil fruit users that are fighting alongside Luffy, not against him, which we don't get to see very often.
Yes.
Except for people on the team, of course.
Then you got your boy Beppo springing into action.
Beppo! Love Beppo! Like, oh my gosh, he can talk and he's polite. Yeah. He's like bowing or he's uncomfortable or something.
We gotta
he's
do
so
a full
cute.
Beppo cosplay.
I love Beppo. And I want to be honest, I had seen, not spoilers, but I had seen obviously like Law's hat and Law as a character just from figures and stuff, and like a plushie of Beppo, and I was like, who is that? I want to know who that is. I haven't seen him at all. And I just was like, there's a polar bear? Like, what? And now obviously I'm obsessed.
And now it might be Chopper Beppo.
Chopper Beppo.
Like Chopper number 1, Beppo number 2, maybe.
Oh, Mehgan. I want to see them interact.
Yeah.
Oh, please, Oda.
You know they're going to.
I need it. I need it.
But, just with this sort of like awesome, but, to juxtapose this like triumphant or just this like this moment of
unity.
Well, this is like they're initiating this battle. The new generation is like putting their foot down and tossing their, whatever in the fight.
Yes.
To see that juxtaposed within the just like sort of like the aftermath, the smoke, and it's like the silhouettes of like Kid, Law, and then because Luffy, used his gear, he's like really tiny. It was so funny.
I mean, I thought this was an awesome moment because, knowing what's not knowing what's yet to come, we do get that moment of Law and Kid and Luffy when Luffy gets back to being like regular size. That's when Kid says, next time we'll meet, we're not going to be friends. Like, we're going to be enemies. Like, get ready.
Yeah.
And Luffy goes, oh, yeah, but I'm going to be king of the pirates. So, like, it's such a, like, sassy, like, comeback. Like, he's so...
But like, Luffy does not mean to be.
He doesn't, but it's so hilarious. Like, just, like, being, like this... Yeah. I don't know. Like, trying to be, like, big and bad. Like, oh, next time we meet, we're going to be enemies. So, get ready. He goes... like looks him up and down and goes,
I mean, that's how you're
it's just it's just a funny, like, even their response is like kind of shocked.
That's literally him picking his nose when people are like, when Spandam is like, hey, what are you gonna do? I've taken everything away, and he's like, what? Like, that's like he undercuts everybody's like moment
trying to be cool and bad. He's just like, well, that's cute.
Yeah.
That's cute what you're doing, but what I'm doing, I'm going to be king of the pirates, bitch.
I mean, imagine if you had...
He's kind of like...
That's you if you had Luffy's power.
Oh, I'm going to be king of the pirates, bitch.
Yeah.
That looks you up and down. It's like Maddie from Euphoria.
I'm afraid. I'm afraid of you in this moment, channeling this energy.
That's how I received it. I know he didn't want it to be that, but I definitely felt how like Kid and Law felt in that moment. Like, oh shit. Like, I mean, they're all equally on crazy levels, but in the future.
And I think that, Law's bounty is a little below Luffy's and Kid's is a little above. And I think the reason that Kid's is above is because
he's badder.
He also just like Luffy's bounty would be higher if he was going into these villages and like wrecking everybody.
Yeah, they rampage. That's the thing that Kid's group does. They like rampage and steal, and like they're like on some actual pirate shit.
Yeah, they're not good, but you know.
Yeah.
Again, compared to the Celestial Dragons, they're pretty.
And I'm surprised that Luffy's isn't higher. I mean, he did go and like completely fuck up Ennie's lobby, so.
I mean, maybe they just got a lot going on right now. They're gonna update it.
Yeah, they haven't. It's in processing right now.
Yeah. Then they kind of go their separate ways. Kuma shows up and goes against Law and Kid, and we see Kuma again. However, Kuma will pop up more, and we will start to wonder how he can be in so many places at once. This is where Rayleigh, please let us know in the comments. He takes them back to the bar, and he talks to them, and he gives them information about being the first mate of the Pirate King, and tells them the real story, and just gives us as well a more accurate history of the events of them and their crew. And
it didn't surprise me at all to hear. I'm not to hear it, but just, I mean, obviously the government like to cover up everything and, everything that happens and history and all this stuff. So to hear it from someone who is actually there, like they do say, is like very satisfying.
Yeah. I mean, what we basically learn is that like, obviously, Roger did not get captured. He turned himself in. But I kind of am in the same boat with you on that. Like, yeah, it doesn't surprise me that the government would lie about that. But what really kind of surprised me is that he had a terminal illness.
Yeah.
And he was going to die anyway.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the reason he went out and tried to conquer the Grand Line in the first place. Because he was like, why not?
Yeah, he's like, why not? And also, before he was executed, saying that line about his treasure, like, I forgot exactly what Rayleigh, what's his name, Dark King said, but he said that, his spark died, but in the end of his spark, it ignited like everyone's hearts into the new age of the pirates. And I thought that was such a cool line.
It's a campfire of dreams all over again. Yeah. No, but I do think that his last line saying like, I won't die. I think he meant that in the sense of like, I'm igniting that spark, that next generation, and I will live on through them in this new age. I will be
my legacy.
The creator of this new age, and my legacy will live on.
Yeah. And the mystery, my name will always be in everyone's mouth, even when I'm long gone, long dead. The government will still be mad at me for starting this. Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
We also know that like Tom, I mean, we're really getting this freaking crew. It's all starting to come together, dude. Like, we know Tom built the ship. We've met Tom. Now we know that Crocus, the lighthouse keeper, was the ship's doctor. Mm-hmm. Like, he was, so going back, and it's so crazy, the timeline of everything, dude, because Brook, when he hears the name Gold Roger, such a cool line that he has. When Brook first hears the name Goldie Roger and everybody's treating him like a man of legend, Brook's like, why does that name sound so familiar? There is a rookie, that just set out or like, blah, blah, blah. To see
like, bro, you've been gone.
Like, he missed all that.
Yeah. You've been basically frozen in time.
Yeah. And when Crocus ended up, one of the main reasons he wanted to join Goldie's crew was to go find the Rumbar pirates.
Aww.
But just all that is so crazy. And he also tells Luffy about Shanks and Buggy, which we already knew that they worked on his ship and were part of his crew as apprentices. But Luffy didn't know that. And now Luffy knows that. But what was probably the most crazy is Robin asking him about the void in history. Like, do you guys know what happened? And he's like, yeah, we know everything.
Yeah, we know all of it. But are you sure you want to know?
Yeah.
And Robin goes, you know what? No, I'm fine. And even Usopp's like, what are you sure?
But what an amazing exchange that led to. That led to such an amazing exchange of, him just basically telling her like, the truth is, and it's just like so, I think like incredibly just beautiful. Like really, truly, the truth is like, it's the truth is different to whoever hears it, right? And whoever finds it and when they find it and where they're at when they find it at different points in time. Do you want to know it now, or do you want to find it when you're, supposed to find it? And you might end up, finding a different truth or deciding to do something else with this truth than we did. And I don't know, when I was reading that, I was like, this is like making me, I mean, this needs to be, we need to like save these volumes. And like, if Earth gets hit by some sort of freaking like meteor or something, like we need to like put these in like a capsule and bury them underground. But that was like a really awesome, powerful line to me. I mean, the way I read that was like, yeah, it kind of blew me away.
He also said something about the voices of all living things in the world.
Oh shit. What the hell?
What is that?
What the hell? I mean, that was insane.
What does that even mean?
Gold Roger could hear the voices of all living things, because Robin was like, how the fuck did he write this language on this ponglyph? Like, how did he decipher
know?
The scholars of O'Hara couldn't even do this. How could some pirate do it? And he's like, oh, he never knew how to do it. He could just hear the voices of all like
living things on the world.
It's like, yeah, no big deal. He could just hear the voices of all living things. What? What kind of crazy shit are you just saying that? You can't just say that. You can't just go to people and you can just say that. You gotta elaborate a little bit more. Oh yeah, he had a connection.
No one asked. They were like, okay.
They're like,
that makes sense.
That answers that.
Guess we'll find out later.
Yeah. I guess we'll find out later. But yeah, that
much later.
Yeah, much later. Usopp then asks him about the One Piece, and Luffy gets very upset, and he's like, I don't want to know. Don't tell me about it. I don't care if it's real, not real. I'm not doing this for the One Piece. I'm doing this for the adventure.
He really screams and really gets upset, and like, it's just so funny to see Usopp immediately be like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm sorry. Like, Usopp apologizing. Like, what a long way we've come.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, I jumped the gun on that.
I shouldn't have pushed that. That's my bad.
Basically,
Luffy's like, get the One Piece name out your fucking mouth.
Can't go one whole episode without it. I was tempted earlier and I stopped myself. I'm
sorry. I'm so sorry. You have no idea how sorry I am.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're forgiven.
Thank you. But Pastor Lucci?
From Pastor Lucci, not from me. Not from me. Ugh, gross. From Pastor Lucci. Like, yeah, not from me. You're not. No, I'm saying like that's how like you view my forgiveness. Like, ew, gross. Like, not. That.
I was literally gonna just.
You were gonna.
But I know that you had all your equipment there. Right. You're lucky. You're lucky. So lucky.
I'm so lucky that I don't get assaulted right now. Anyway, he says that it's going to take him 3 days to coat this ship. They go their separate ways. Let's meet up in 3 days. They set a location to meet up at. And this is where, we see Kizaru show up, elsewhere in the Archipelago. He starts going off, dude, versus Hawkins, versus the Mad Monk, versus Yoroge, versus Drake, who knows about, the pacifistas, and he goes against Apu. And
Kizaru is fire.
Yes.
His design is fire.
Probably one of the coolest.
He
straight
is
up
so awesome looking. And he just commands like power.
He steals the show.
He does.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't be rooting for him.
No.
But I am.
No, I'm
not, but like he's just so awesome.
He steals the show. I mean, he really, really does. And he's got a presence, like you said. And it's something about his design that you can't help but just be drawn in by this man. We find out more about his devil fruit ability, which is the glint fruit, I believe, which allows him to travel at the speed of light or travel somehow through light, the way it's reflected.
How do you beat that?
Insane. How can you beat that? He's absolutely insane.
Speed of light. He goes, ever been kicked at the speed of light? Like, what a badass.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm about to kick you at the speed of light. Get ready.
Yeah.
Buckle in.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, yeah, I have. And he's like, oh, well. I guess that's a little underwhelming then, but get ready to get kicked again. Yeah, man. I mean, this was such a crazy fight because he's kind of just mowing through all these captains. These captains are kind of, granted, all of them I think Kizaru could wipe them all out, but he's kind of looking for his, not his partner necessarily, but he's looking for his comrade, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are kind of people just like getting in his way.
Yeah.
He's asking them questions. They don't want to comply. He obviously has to do something about people that won't comply. So it is just like this back and forth of like, hey, do you know where so-and-so is? I'm not going to tell you. Okay, then I have to beat your ass.
Yeah, and this is like said to be happening or shown to be happening at the same time that the Straw Hats are dealing with Kuma. We saw Eustace Kid and Law dealing with Kuma.
That's
and now
when
we're seeing Kuma here, and now it's starting to come together. Oh, there are multiple pacifistas. They are these cyborg android type things. It would only make sense. And then Drake has a line, an inner monologue line, or someone tells Drake because he was an ex-Navy. He was in the Navy. Used to be. They tell him like, oh yeah, why don't you go ahead and test this one out? Like, you're someone who knows all of our inner workings, so you'll know also how doomed you are. Like, why don't you, try your hand at this like new model or something? And so that's when we, the audience, start piecing it together. And that's also when Drake becomes a freaking dinosaur.
We barely get to see it. We see glimpses of it. I wish we saw more. Hopefully we see more in the future. But yeah, that was so sick. And that's around the time that, Kizaru like gets his body like blown up and then rebuilds it. Like what?
I want to know who Oda's source of inspiration is for this character. I know it has to be based off of I feel like based off of an actual person, just because the way he's able to draw this character, and he's such an expressive, just something about that panel when he's coming back together and the face that he makes and he's like put it back together. It's so expressive, and I just imagine Oda is pulling from very specific reference when he's drawing these things. Like it is just such a crazy cool moment for this character.
It really is. He's so awesome. I love his character design so much.
Yeah. The Straw Hats are also putting this together too, that something is off about Kuma. They're kind of filling in Luffy on the parts that he missed out on. And Zoro is also aware that this is a little different. This isn't the same necessarily person that they fought before, specifically because they don't notice the paws on his hands. The paws on his hands.
There's slight little differences each time.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't seem to be there. And also the type of energy that he's expelling is different than what Zoro remembered. So they're piecing it together too. But that's when the Straw Hats are able to defeat their Kuma and
by a hair.
Yeah.
I mean, they're struggling still, even with Sanji, Zoro, Luffy. I mean, the three of them are struggling, and they end up being really tired at the end of it. I mean, they barely get him. All of them barely get him. I mean, they're like, wow, like, scary that he might get up again, because they're literally, it's like all of them against one Kuma.
Mm-hmm.
So then.
And they, like you said, like, they probably couldn't even freaking, like, I don't know. They probably couldn't even, like, pick up trash out. I mean, like, you know what I mean? They'd be too weak to, like, I mean, they are at the end of their, it took everything out of them.
It really did.
To do this. And then, someone else freaking shows up. Someone equally as strong, it seems, as Kuma shows up. And that is Sentomaru. And they are the bodyguard of Vegapunk.
I kind of like their design, too. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I did initially have like a reaction of like, not my favorite. But then as it went on, I was like, I like this character.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, this person is there to kind of oversee these pacifistas and to kind of, because I'm assuming as Vegapunk's bodyguard that they are also aware of how these things work and are also kind of getting data on these things, or like maybe like, kind of studying how they're performing and maybe reporting back to Vegapunk some way.
For sure.
But this is where things get freaking
hairy,
crazy,
bubbly,
hairy, cinematic Avengers Endgame freaking
honestly
level. Also the real Kuma and or no. So okay, this is what happens. So Sentomaru shows up with another Kuma, another pacifista Kuma,
PX4.
Yes.
Or was the one that was on the floor PX4? I think the one that he brought was PX1.
Yeah, P90X. Great freaking internet or one of those DVDs you could buy and work out. It was like said you could get like a 6-pack in like 30 days. P90X. Look it up. Maybe they still sell it. I don't know. I need to do it. I know I need to
Never
do
heard of that. I know I need to do it.
Yeah, so it shows up with another Kuma. Then they're like, okay, split up, go. We got to get the fuck out of here. We barely beat that one. We can't beat another one and this other person.
Mm-hmm.
As they're escaping, freaking Kizaru shows up. An admiral shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay, well, now.
They're done.
Yeah.
And even Luffy immediately in that moment goes like, run. That was the
Which is
craziest part
that
about
he's
it.
Never said.
No,
dude.
he goes, he's literally yelling, like, we cannot beat them. Everyone run. And that's when I felt this like terror. I was like, oh my God.
And disparity that Luffy had.
I felt like I was there with them. Like, because all of them are just like taking his lead, and usually it is fight to the end, we're gonna do it, we're gonna beat them, always having this positivity. And he just realized in that moment, like, we are not strong enough, I am not strong enough, everybody run. And that crazy.
It was absolutely insane because you could feel it. You could see it in all of their faces too. It's not just Luffy. There was a moment with Sanji later on too.
Yeah.
Where Sanji's like, what am I do? I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like, why can't I do this? What is wrong with me? Like, I mean, they're really like unraveling here.
They really are.
But it's at their, lowest point when you think that this is their lowest point, and you think that there's no way that they can, that anything can save them or help them.
Yeah, they're pulling out all of the stops. Chopper like rumble balled it up.
Yeah.
He is, super.
He went berserker mode.
He went berserker mode again, and that couldn't even do it. That wasn't even good enough. I mean, they are just pulling out all the stops. Couped event 10 times fold. I mean,
everything. And that's when the Dark King, Riley shows up again to save them. And, granted, he is very powerful and he is very strong, but because of old age and this and that, he's having a hard enough time. And I don't even know if it's a hard enough time, but he is, just keeping Kizaru distracted. He is able to hold off Kizaru, and Kizaru uses light to make a freaking lightsaber. We got dinosaurs. We got lightsabers. I mean, we got everything. Everything. One Piece has everything. Zombies.
It really does. Ghosts.
Yeah. I mean,
skeletons. Music, happiness, sadness, human slavery, human auctioning, human trafficking.
Sometimes everything's not great.
Yeah.
On top of all of this, literally, while the Dark King himself is holding back Kizaru, who is using a lightsaber, the real Kuma shows up. And we know he's a real Kuma because he's the only one that's had paws so far.
And he has a Bible.
He just got back from church.
We need to unwrap that.
Yeah. He just got back from church. Lucci's ceremony ran a little long that day. But he knew he needed to be there, Yeah, because he's a very powerful figure in the church. He's a very powerful. Powerful figure in the church. Deacon Kuma. This is where you're like, oh my God. Like, yeah, everything is coming to a head. This is a climax that we've never felt before, because this arc ends on such a hopeless note while everybody is running around realizing like they are way out of their depth. And this is not just here. This is what's waiting for them in the new world. And if they're not able to do it here, and if they are this at this much of a disadvantage here,
no way,
then they're already thinking like, there's no way we're going to be able to hold on long enough to survive in this new world. Like Luffy, again, when he realized that he needed to be stronger to save Robin, he needs to be stronger to save everybody, to save his crew. Like, he is at the end of his rope again. And we see it when Kuma starts going around and just freaking vacation spotting everybody, dude.
Yeah, that was pretty intense. Everyone's gone. It was like Brook. It was like Zoro gone. Brook gone. Frankie. And like Luffy's the last one to go. He's just watching everyone get blipped and blipped and blipped.
Yeah. And the reason I liked it too is because everybody has a reaction to everybody. First of all, Luffy's screaming, it feels like, every time somebody gets blipped, right?
He's losing his mind.
But also like when Sanji sees Zoro go, like his reaction to it, like again, like what am I doing? Like it's my job. Like I should be an asset, and I feel like I'm a hindrance. I feel like I can't do anything. And then like everybody's reaction to Chopper or to Usopp, and Luffy just like, I imagine like the camera freaking like spinning around his head, and he's just like falling to his knees, like I can't do anything. My crew is dying. Like they're gone.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know what he thinks is happening in this moment.
I mean, they probably think that they're dying too.
Because he didn't see Kuma do this to anybody.
No, like, the only one who saw was Nami.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nami was. Yeah,
Nami was the only one.
Maybe Zoro's kind of aware of it too, but I don't know if he ever saw him do this exactly or specifically.
No, Nami mentioned it exactly, saying, "Oh, I remember that Perona girl. He did that to her, but I have no idea where she went."
Yeah. And in the last moment when things are at their darkest, and Luffy is just
broken,
and his whole crew is just gone. It's so insane. I'm just like being transported kind of back there, but he is also like right at the last minute. He is also just blipped out of existence. And like the last line is like, on that day, the Straw Hats were eradicated. Wow.
What?
Yeah. Literally. I mean, we want to talk about freaking climax, dude. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. This is the craziest.
The craziest
cliffhanger ever in One Piece.
Craziest cliffhanger, craziest ending. Just in general, in terms of like an arc where an arc ends. To me, Enies Lobby and Water 7 was lead up to Enies Lobby, and it was all very epic. What makes Sabaody Archipelago, what makes it, I think, it's hard to say. If you're comparing the arcs, what I think Water 7 and Enies Lobby were very consistent. They were longer, which maybe gave it more time to build things up, but it was consistent. Sabaody Archipelago at its beginning with the Duval stuff kind of had a little slow start, had a slow-ish start.
I again feel like that was super intentional.
Sure.
Like to throw you off the scent. Like it felt like it was just going to be a normal kind of what we kind of got in Thriller Bark, fun, adventure, comedy, and ended in just like the most horrible scenario that you could think of for the Straw Hats.
Yeah, I would say that even though it had that kind of start, which I agree was probably purposeful. I mean, the way that this arc just ended and the build up, like the moment they got to Archipelago, from that moment forward, I mean, I felt myself having bigger reactions to things and felt like it was so much harder to not continue reading this than Enies Lobby and Water 7. Like this,
no, I really wanted to keep reading too.
Yeah, this had me, I think, and they're both arcs that make you feel so many things about these characters in this world that you might have not at first expected to feel, but this made me feel them at a higher level. There were, to me, it was hype moment after hype moment after hype moment in a different kind of way, in a way that made me like have a crazier reaction.
Yeah.
This was a phenomenal, mind-blowing arc. What are your kind of like final thoughts on all this?
I mean, yeah, it was really, really intense, and I feel like this is the most adult I feel like we've seen One Piece get, just because of its dark themes and because of what it was, what it entailed in general, not only for the setting that they were in, but for the Straw Hats. I mean, Luffy, we don't know where they're at. We don't know where they're going to go. But I think this moment for Luffy, just like you said, the Robin moment was super important for him to stand up and be stronger for Robin and to save her, because if he can't save her, then he can't save his crew. Now he couldn't save his crew because he wasn't strong enough. We're going to see complete and utter insane growth from Luffy after this moment, because this was a core memory for him, not only him, everyone in the group, everyone in the Straw Hats, but Luffy being the captain, I feel like he's going to feel that responsibility more than ever after this, which is going to be intense.
Yeah, I'm anxious, curious to see the place that Luffy's in. Like, I know Luffy to be this optimistic, don't let anything get in my way, don't let anything stop me kind of person. And I feel like this might be a situation that has sort of rocked him at his core in a way. And he might not, when we see him again, be that same optimistic Luffy, right away. It might take him a while to get back to that. It feels like.
Yeah, I don't think it. I think I agree, and I think that we're kind of getting hinted at that more and more when we did get that moment with Zoro getting all of his like anguish and pain that he's been holding on to. So this type of situation could, rock him, and either I'm sure it'll propel him to be a better captain and to grow stronger, but him to hold on to it for a little bit would be, honestly, I wouldn't say cool to see, but we haven't seen Luffy in that state before. It is always happy-go-lucky, and I kind of felt that like hint of sadness when he was talking about Ace. I know he had a smile on his face, but it kind of seemed to me, maybe I'm just reading into it a little bit, but saying, Ace doesn't like to show weakness. Well, like Luffy doesn't like to show weakness either. And they're very similar in that, sense. So, this was a complete display of weakness for everyone in his crew. Even Kizaru, Kuma, all these people that he wants to beat, he just showed them how weak him and his crew actually are.
Yeah, I mean, he thought he had Aokiji to worry about, and he thought, that was the person that kind of kicked him into third gear. But now he's realizing, oh my God, it's not just Aokiji. It's so many people. I'm sure it feels like to him, it's everybody. Like I can't, like, they are on a completely different level. And I don't know what Luffy is thinking, and I'm excited to see where he's at, sort of mentally after this, and to see where everybody is. Cause maybe Luffy isn't still, maybe he will show a lot more emotion than Luffy normally does, or maybe he will seem a little bit more defeated than Luffy normally does. But I know that the other Straw Hats are probably going to be even more shook by everything.
Definitely. I mean, if they are all the same place, like, it will be this time of, not embarrassment, but they're all going to want to like build each other up together. But if they're not all together, it could result in like, festering in your own sorrow.
Absolutely. It might result in them festering for sure, but it also might result in them having that time away from each other and realizing and discovering their own strength in order to reunite. So that when they do reunite, they have all gone through their own journey and have all, become
That's interesting, because I mean, they all kind of lean on each other in like, we've only seen them really like in Thriller Bark. I think that was the most we've seen that teamwork start to build, even where we saw, what's the name of the mask guy?
Bandom?
No. The one in this.
Oh, I think his name is like Killer Machine.
No, it's the guy that looks like Sanji.
Oh, Duval.
Duval. Even with that fight against the flying fish, like, they were all really, really working together. So I like your point to see, they are kind of leaning on each other. So if they don't have that anymore, then like, how can they become stronger? Like, and if they are separated, like, what are they going to go up against personally?
Yeah, Oda does break, format, and, he does kind of shake things up often, but I would also be surprised. I do want that to be true, but I also wouldn't be surprised if some of them got blipped to similar locations or they are vicinities that are close to each other.
Or they're dead.
Or they died, and this is the end. Thank you. But I'm so excited to see what's coming next. Like you said, I feel the same way. It has never been harder and was never harder to put down One Piece than it was this time.
Unbearable.
It really
was unbearable. I was like, I want to read the next chapter, like, please. And I just, knowing what's to come, it's even more gut wrenching to not open up that laptop on Viz, Shonen Jump app. Let's go. Let's read. Like, I've never wanted to pick it back up as much as I want to right now.
Yeah. I'm so excited, and can't wait for the next episode. I can't wait to read it again, and just want to thank everybody for watching this and listening to this, especially if you're listening to it here and now at the very end. Thank you so much. You are the best. But that's gonna do it for our Sabaody Archipelago.
I can't wait to hear you say that back in the episode. That was so insane. That was so amazing. No, that was amazing. It was really funny.
But I just want to apologize to everybody.
If we've been saying it wrong this whole entire time, we've been saying a lot of things I know wrong, and it's not like we're not trying to make fun of or light of it, but I mean it is just like. You look up the danger of like looking up another video where someone else explains it is like getting something spoiled or having to sift through, hours of another thing to just try to figure out how to say one thing. It's so just let us know as nicely as you can in the comments, and we'll be better next time these characters show up. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. The only thing we have to do before we get out of here is thank. From the bottom of our hearts, our wonderful, our beautiful, our amazing, our incredibly special Patreon members. Thank each and every one of you guys from the bottom of our hearts. I mean, these past couple weeks have been just absolutely incredible. Mind-blowing in a lot of ways, just the amount of support. A lot of new Patreon members have allowed us to sort of like reach a new milestone, a personal goal, and we are it's starting to really feel like we are on that road to being able to completely give every hour of every day that we have to this, because we won't have to like look outside we won't have to look anywhere else for that income, because you guys are allowing us and giving us the freedom to be able to do this, and that you are connecting with it, and that you are enjoying it enough to want to support us and help us put more into the show. It really does, like everything that you saw pretty much in like the Thriller Bark episode, like we really were able to do that all because of you guys. So
yeah, 100%.
We are completely grateful, and we want to do more, push harder. We love doing these episodes, and we are so happy to all of you that support us, not only for these episodes, but everything else that we put out on our channel.
Yeah, and I know we might not be doing as crazy of a cosplay this time around.
I'm sorry, you guys.
But we got a lot of new characters introduced and a lot of new cosplay coming, so don't you worry about that. So one more time, we would love to just thank our Patreon members. Thank you so much. You guys mean the world to us, and it blows us away every new member that we get. But if you cannot support financially, please do not feel bad. Please do not worry. There are plenty of other things that you can do to show your support for absolutely free. I've been a very broke person for 99.9% of my life, and so I completely understand and do not feel bad about that at all, because Mehgan will tell you some ways that you can support for free 99.
Yes, if you want to support us for free 99, you could totally do that. It matters. It means the world to us. All you have to do is comment on any one of our videos. You can comment a comment, an emoji, a period, Algorithm Gang Gang, and you will become affiliated with the Algorithm Gang Gang Volume 1. And it helps us spread our episodes far and wide and feed that pesky, hungry algorithm.
Mother algorithm.
And it helps us out a lot. And, if you don't have money to spare, if you don't have berries to spare, don't worry. If you just do that, like, subscribe, share our videos too to any other fans of One Piece, and comment anything you want. It acts as a free tip, and it helps out more than you know.
And we appreciate any and all support in any way you can show it. We appreciate it.
Yes.
That is going to do it for the episode. Now, the only thing we have to do is get out of here on our outro. That's always the same. It never changes, which today is what should it be, Megan? The outro that is always the same and never changes. You just want to blow bubbles?
Bubble trouble.
Bubble trouble? Okay, I like it. You know what? For the sake of the actual incorporating the bubbles into it, I really like it. You want me to blow mine too?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Oh gosh,
wait.
this is gonna be so hard.
Oh, I sneezed.
Oh
Woo.
God.
Okay.
Thank
So you have
you.
to blow it and then you have to say it.
Okay. Blow it and then say it? No, I want to say it and then blow it.
Oh, okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And until next time,
Bubble trouble. It looks like a long stick, but I mean, I think there'd be more bubbles.
Yeah, you got
Yeah, it's really hard.
Suggest it.